Welcome back. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, here for the Daily Blob, where I shake my brain nipples every day to get some of that dirty YouTube money so I can afford to provide you folks hands-on, in-person technology classes that empower you to do whatever the hell it is you want to do in Durham, North Carolina. Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. We have a class coming up on AI and web scraping tomorrow, completely full. Don't try to sign up. We have a class coming up on extending AI capabilities with REST APIs in a couple of weeks. That is open. We have more classes coming down the pike. If you're interested, take a look at our schedule at silicondojo.com. Do remember, free to the end user is not actually free. That's why I'm shaking my brain nips every day. If you want to throw some money into the donor box link down below, that would be ever so lovely. And now let's just get into the stupidity. Fuck. Lordy, I'm starting to get tired of China. Can we stop talking about China now? It's not funny anymore. It's not funny. Laughing about China, man, is so fucking tiring at this point in time. But anyways, it is the dumpster fire that has no end. So I think this is vaguely interesting just for the level of stupidity and the continuing anti-China jingoism in the United States and the Western world. Coming from CNBC, Alibaba is helping the Chinese military target the US, White House memo claims from the Financial Times. So basically the claim here is that Alibaba, big Chinese tech company, is helping the Chinese military target the US. Probably. Let's be honest. Probably. What I find fascinating about this, though, and what I find very weird about this, though, is all of our big tech companies basically support the U.S. military industrial complex, right? We have Meta, the Facebook fucking company, and they're literally helping Anduril come up with the next version of a HoloLens or whatever for our soldiers, right? We had Google. I don't know if it still exists. I'm sure some version of it exists. I think it was called Project Maven, using things like artificial intelligence from Google's systems to be able to find targets, basically for the military. Microsoft, their Azure systems are being used literally for genocidal purposes in Israel. So yeah, having private, generally consumer-facing companies support militaries is probably a very questionable thing, and we as a global society should figure out what some of the guardrails should be there. But what I find funny with all of this is the fact that when Alibaba does it, when China Man does it, that's when everybody gets scared. Everybody gets scared, right? Elon Musk literally has military contracts, right? Under SpaceX with Starlink, I think it's called Star Shield for the U.S. government. Literally, SpaceX is running spy communication satellites for the U.S. government. And he's the one that's CEO of Tesla, the electric car company, where they're trying to sell a lot of Teslas into China, right? I'm just saying, if you're going to put a question mark beside somebody's face in the geopolitical world, I might put it beside Elon Musk. But for some reason, that's A-okay. When China does it, it's bad. Alibaba is helping the Chinese military to target the U.S., according to a White House memo the Financial Times reported Friday. The memo alleged Alibaba provides tech support for military operations against targets in the U.S., according to the Financial Times. Yep, probably. I'm sorry. Look, under the Obama administration, under our Nobel Peace Prize winning president, won the Nobel Peace Prize literally for fucking showing up to work that day. Anyways, he did something called the Pacific Pivot. Obama administration pointed our entire military apparatus at China in order to contain them. And that is beyond X-band radar systems in South Korea. That is beyond the spy aircraft that are flying right along basically the borders of China to see what's going inside in China and everything else. Right? We have come out and stated categorically that China is our adversary. Right? Not mine. I don't have a fucking problem with China, man. I got 99 fucking problems in this world. China, man, really don't fucking come very high up on that list, right? But I'm told by our politicians that we gotta be scared of China. That's why we gotta point all of our military. If you sit and you look at any of the new military technology that's coming out, it is all for targeting China. China is across the entire Pacific Ocean. Even if China decided to go on a conquest for global supremacy, it would take them so fucking long to get to the United States. There is so much between the United States and China. But anyways, we have taken it upon ourselves to consider China as a military enemy. And so once we basically define somebody else as our military adversary, I don't think it should be a shock that that country should, basically look at us the exact same way. And so when you say that Alibaba provides tech support for military operations against targets in the US, as I will say, what is Microsoft doing? What is Meta doing? What is Google doing? What are all of these big tech companies doing? And if they can do it, why is this a big deal? Well, the assertions and innuendos in the article are completely false, Alibaba said in a statement. Quote, we question the motivation behind the anonymous leak, which the Financial Times admits that they cannot verify. Alibaba said, this is malicious PR operation clearly came from a rogue voice looking to undermine President Trump's recent trade deal with China. Quote, the fact that Alibaba's stock dropped so rapidly in response to the Financial Times report shows how much China's AI industry is on edge over possible new sanctions, said Kyle Chan, a Brookings fellow, focuses on China. Chan pointed out the Financial Times report comes as Alibaba's open source Quinn AI model is growing in popularity in Silicon Valley, increasing the threat to the pay-to-use models from the US AI companies OpenAI and Anthropic, while investors are increasingly worried about a possible AI bubble. So basically, it looks like China is moving forward with their AI aspirations, even if the U.S. is trying to prevent them from going there. Alibaba, they have their Quinn model that they put out, I think, relatively recently, one of the newer models. And so the idea that China is saying with this is basically this is just being used to to disparage China, which is probably true. Yeah, probably. Yep. And so, yeah, I think this is just another shoe to fall. And it's the story. I talked about this before. Like when you take my AI class, one of the things I talk about in the basic AI classes is the idea of prompt injection. And especially what I get interested with prompt injection is with image prompt injection. So you can use the OpenAI API. So this is where you can create your own Python code that connects to OpenAI's servers. And basically you can put in a query for something called DALL-E that is an image creation generation tool. Well, the thing is, with that image creation tool, you can hard code in prompt injections, just like you could for any other kind of AI system that you're building. And so one of the things I show people is I talk about the whole thing with the pasta, the spaghetti monster, right? Being a pastafarian. And one of the things I show people is that you can add a very small prompt injection for all images coming out of an app that you would create for AI image generation. And you could say, basically, in every image that you create, or when you create the image, add something related to pasta, right? And that's all you do. So somebody puts this big old prompt on the image they want created, and then you just put add some pasta. And what's interesting there, right, is I've had World War II images where soldiers in the foxhole, and they have their little can of Chef Boyardee, right? Or I have religious people and they're eating a thing of pasta. And my argument here is like when people think about like misinformation or they talk about fake news, right? It's really big. It's really big stuff. One of the things that I argue is what about micro-influencing? What about influencing where you're not trying to change somebody's opinion from a single article or a single set of articles? What if you're trying to shift people's mental worldview in thousands of pieces of content? Thousands of pieces of content that just have a teeny bit of manipulation. Right? So when I come to you and I start telling you about the glory of the spaghetti monster and how its noodly goodness is there for you in ways you may not have realized, and then you go online and you start looking at images, and all of a sudden you see a Chef Boyardee there, and you see a pasta there, and you see a meatball there. Like, oh my God, I didn't realize that the spaghetti monster has been looking out for me all of this time, right? And I talk about the spaghetti monster. There are other, dare I say, real religions out there that could probably do a little bit better job of that kind of micro-influencing. And what I get concerned though with this whole drumbeat of anti-Chinaism, you know, whether it's the German minister coming out, or whether it's Nexperia, or whether it's Trump doing what Trump's doing, all of this stuff, whether it's TikTok, all of these things, it's just this constant drip. It's the constant drip of the idea that you cannot trust China, man. And the thing is, you get the drip today and the drip tomorrow and the drip to and then when we go to war, then when we go to the asinine war, right? When tens of thousands of our young people are being slaughtered for no particular fucking reason, right? People will feel that it's legitimate because we have to fight against the baddies. And so yeah, I don't know. This is just that kind of continuing thing that we see going on. And it will probably end poorly. It will probably end poorly. Our politicians in the United States, I think Viagra is no longer working for them. I've said this before. I do believe that politicians get an immunity to Viagra after a little while, and the only thing that will really get them a good fucking hard on after about age 75 is young men being slaughtered for no good goddamn reason. And so I think basically we are just continuing on the path to get all of our, you know, geezerly old fucking baby boom politicians out there, the stiffies of a fucking lifetime. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion, because it's just foolish. I mean, again, like any of this, and that's the weird, like this is coming out. Alibaba is helping the Chinese military. Yeah, it is, of course. Like, yeah, probably. Google helps the US military. Microsoft helps the fucking genocide in Gaza, right? Meta is helping the US military. Like, So anyways, so what do you think about this? What do you think about the constant drip of anti-AI China propaganda in the United States? What do you think about the idea of Alibaba helping the Chinese military? I don't know, put your thoughts down below. If you like these videos, give us a thumbs up. If you hate these videos, give us a thumbs down. Call me amazing, call me a dumbass. Just be a real Lutnick and give us a good American comment down there. Do remember what I actually care about is Silicon Dojo, silicondojo.com. Free to end user hands-on technology education that empowers you to do whatever the hell it is you want to do in Durham, North Carolina. We're having a class tomorrow on AI and web scraping, completely full. Don't try to sign up. We are having another class, though, on extending AI capabilities with REST APIs coming up in a couple of weeks. If you're interested in that class and the other classes that are going to be coming down the pike, go to silicondojo.com to see what the schedule is. Do remember, free to the end user is not actually free. That's why I shake the brain nips every day. If you'd like to throw some money in to help support the project, there is a donor box link down below. And with that, see y'all later.